Torrington, BBC WM 95.6, talking about sperm donation on the programme tonight. It's on the back of the story that you may have seen in the press today. Ken Livingstone's pictured in the papers with his daughters Lottie and Georgia. They were conceived as a result of sperm donations around 2 decades ago. Have you got your own story on this? Share it with me tonight on Late Night Graham Torrington, 08453 009956. On the phone now is Natalie from Birmingham. Natalie, thanks very much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you.
You're in a same-sex relationship with your partner, and I believe you've had 2 children as a result of sperm donation, yeah?
Yeah, we've had our children, Gianna and Kai, through a sperm donor, and they have regular contact with their father now, and it works well for all 3 of us. So.
Okay, well, first things first, what was the thought process behind having a sperm donor?
Well, obviously, because we was in a same-sex relationship, we visited many clinics London way, and we couldn't find a clinic really that we were happy with. Obviously, because they wanted to do IVF and egg sharing programs, and we just didn't feel that we needed that. We just needed sperm. So we just thought it was best if we looked around and see if we could get a donor ourselves rather than go to.
And how did you go about that?
There was a company at the time that was sort of matchmaking, a bit like what our company does now, where they matchmake sperm donors.
So you actually run the Gay Family Web Fertility Centre in Digbeth, yeah?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Okay, so what you're talking about is a similar sort of thing that you found initially for a sperm donor yourself, yes?
Yeah, we knew what we were looking for. We wanted somebody with the same sort of hair colour as we've got, and height, and good IQ, that sort of thing. So we just gave a basic description of what we were looking for, and they did all the matchmaking for us.
And how much does this cost?
Originally what we paid was £1,700 for 6 donations. But through our clinic, all our donors donate for free.
Right.
So,
why did you pay £1,700 then?
Well, I mean, if we'd have gone down the IVF route, we would have been talking more like the sort of £8,000 plus.
Right.
And we just didn't think we needed that sort of treatment. We were just missing sperm, and we'd heard stories of friends of ours, conceiving through artificial insemination. And we just thought, well, if it works for them, we could give it a go ourselves if we just track our cycle and then inseminate the sperm on the right days.
So, without being too crude about this literally was a DIY job, yes?
Yeah, it's actually known as DIY home insemination, basically, because you are doing it yourself.
Were you a bit nervous about this whole process?
It was nervous. We were nervous at the time because obviously we didn't know the donor before we went ahead. It was only that we met him afterwards. We met him just after the first insemination, and so it was a bit nerve-wracking because obviously you don't know what this person's really like, and you're going to create a child with that person, so that's going to have half of the genes are going to come from them, and that was a bit nerve-wracking at the time, yeah. So,
let me just get this clear in my head. You didn't really know this person until after the first insemination, right?
Yeah, after we'd done the insemination, the first one, we'd had various email contacts and text messages. And then after the first insemination, he just sort of said, well, give me a shout if it doesn't work out, and we need to do this again next month, then we can meet up and do the whole process again. But obviously, I caught first time, and then he was quite curious about the baby and things and how the pregnancy was progressing, and so we had regular email contact right up until Gianna was 1. And then he asked if he could meet Gianna, and we went along and had a family day out.
What safeguards did you put into place? Because, this is the guy that supplied the sperm, and, once again, sorry to be so crude about it, but this is a DIY job here. So he supplied, the sperm, and from there on in, legally, it's a bit of a minefield there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, what we did was we asked for, 6 months screening of STI and HIV tests, which he was quite happy to provide. He was in a long-term relationship, and so there was very little chance that that he was sort of playing around, and so that was quite a safe bet. And that was all we really did. I mean, you know, it's pretty much the same as what we do now. We've got over 1,000 donors who we screen regularly, and it's just a matter of always keeping up to date with, you know, their tests before you refer them on to anybody.
And he is, the male sperm donor here.
Yeah.
If he comes back into, as you say, it's all quite friendly and amicable at the moment between all of you here.
Mm-hmm.
But what about if one day when he suddenly goes, well, actually, I'm the father of these children?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's different with our children because obviously they do know him as dad, and they do spend time with him, and we have no problem with it. But obviously we're in a civil partnership, and UK law now says that if you're in a civil partnership, then both of the partners go on the birth certificate, which sort of removes the donor from the parenting role. So, you know, he could take it further and approach the courts, but they would recognise that, you know, there's contracts in place and he was known as a donor before the insemination, so that sort of supports you in you and your partner in, you know, having that parenting role and bringing that child to
on the back of all this, what would you say to anybody who's considering going down the route that you've taken?
Well, I mean, we've had about 650 women in the last 4 years conceive, and we've not known of any issues. I think if they're thinking of going down that route, just make sure that you're using a reputable company to buy your syringes and your pots and things from. And then, like I say, just have a chat. There's lots of forums out there that chat about different donors, you know, if they've been donating for quite a while. So visit different sites and just do a little search, you know, type in Google their name and see what comes up, you know, because it'll direct you off to different sites then. And then definitely make sure that they've got regular STI screens in place, and you can see the paperwork to prove that.
Interesting. Natalie, thanks very much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Late Night Graham, Torrington, BBC.